All right. Welcome to the Limo show. I have Tim Ray with me today. Welcome, Tim. Glad to have you here. So Tim is basically, I know about Tim from a while ago, actually, because he was actually in the dating space like myself. He was a coaching man, and one of his passions is also coaching. And he's actually coaching guys now on sales. He has a sales coaching company where he teaches guys how to basically make money online and be free by basically being a remote closer. That's what it is, right? Maybe
That's the
actually
term.
it's
That's the term.
yeah, maybe it's better if actually you can introduce yourself, because I
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I know what you're doing, but you might be able to introduce yourself better. So for people who don't know you, what do you do basically right now?
Yeah. I mean, you explained it really well. It's remote closing. So there's this whole movement online where people are coaching, people are providing services, there's agencies. I mean, the world is like digital now, right? If you need marketing services, you don't need to go to the print shop and ask them to print newspaper ads for you. You just
Yeah,
go and find an agency and someone fucking does it. So like at a lot of times, can I curse on here, by the way? So I
you
tend to
can
do this.
curse, you can do whatever here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's only cursing I would do, Limo. There's nothing else. There's no
Yeah,
other
yeah,
level
yeah.
beyond that. You can
No
do
worries.
whatever. Um, so what happens is like agencies, coaches, they sell services that are 5K, $10,000, $20,000. Generally, for people to buy those services, they need to have a conversation and feel out the company, have some level of trust, and then make a decision from that call or a couple of calls. So what a closer does is their job is to sit with them on Zoom, just like this, with a prospect, a potential person who wants to buy for this from this company, and represent the
Yeah.
company and close the deal and get the person to pay 5K, 10K, 20K for the service, for the coaching, like for dating coaching or for mindset coaching or for marketing services, whatever, ads consulting. And what I do is I teach guys, I guess, and girls might not, but all my clients are guys, teach them how to do that in an effective way and close deals and handle objections and lead and communicate at the highest level so they can make a bunch of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's super interesting because in my experience, dating is very similar to sales. You know, the same communication principles, the same psychological understandings that you would have in dating are transferable to sales 100%, and vice versa in a way. Vice versa, both are very complementary. And so I know that you've been in the dating space before. How long have you been in the dating space? Like you would say 2, 3 years, more than, I
No, like
mean, coaching.
way
I
longer
mean,
than that. Oh,
coaching.
the coaching
Yeah.
space for a long time, and the dating space it was for a long time too. The coaching space, I guess I was a coach because it was dating coaching that I was doing since 2000, was it like 2017 ish, 2016, 17.
Yeah.
I launched a dating course in 2018 that did fairly well. And then moved out of the dating space officially in 2023. So literally last year, at least at the time of shooting this, and went pivoted into sales full time. Just went full balls to the wall, all things sales. So I've been in the sales space for about, I'd say, about a year and a half, coming up on 2 years now.
Hmm. Gotcha. Gotcha. And so what led you to transition from dating coaching to sales coaching? Because I mean, it's still coaching.
Yeah. So I didn't go from dating coaching to like sales coaching. I went from coaching dating to actually being a closer myself. So I worked as a closer for just under a year. Struggled at first for the first couple of months because I did not understand actually how to close deals properly, even though I had closed for my own company. Like I had closed my own date calls for my dating coaching services. But I didn't understand how to do that at scale, right? Like someone coming to you from an ad is very different than someone who's been following you on YouTube for 2 years and just wants to work with you. You know that's
True.
the
Yeah.
funnel is
Yeah.
different, right? So I as a closer, I was getting like freaking 5, 6 calls a day, 5, 6 days out of the week. That was not good. I mean, the volume was great. I could have made money, but I didn't perform well because I just didn't understand how to handle that. So I got training, learned how to properly handle objections, learned how to lead, and then I started making a bunch of money. Started hitting months where I was doing like 10, 12, 13, peaking right around 15K consistently in commissions. So I would bring in, let's say, like 100K plus for a company from a month of sales being on their calls, and then I would get commissions out of that. And then I did that for a while, and then I started helping other guys for free because there were guys in the program that I was in who would see, like, we would role play together and practice in these sales coaching programs that I was learning from. And I was
Yeah.
better than like everyone else because I had been doing dating before. So
Yeah.
that's why I got better fast, because I had like had the dating skill set and I understood the frameworks. I just didn't know how to do it in sales. So once I had like a month and a half, 2 months of training, I just got super good. And then the other guys in the program were like, can you give me coaching like for free? Because they wanted one-on-one time with someone who knew what they were doing. So I started coaching them, and then I realized, like, damn, I actually really love coaching this. This is super fun. And it's, to me personally, it was because I had been coaching dating for so long, it was just more fun than coaching dating because I was done in the dating space.
Mm.
Um, and then I started coaching. So I've only been a sales coach officially for like 3 months now. I haven't been a sales coach for years and years and years. I made all the money first to prove that I could actually do it. And now I'm like, now I'm coaching guys because I'm really good. But I first was just closing and making money first.
Interesting, interesting. And yeah, I feel you, man. Sometimes, I mean, I still love coaching dating, but sometimes it could get redundant. Once you stay in an industry for many, many years, you start repeating the same thing every week to every people, which is fine. I mean, you're
Yeah.
helping people,
Yeah.
but then sometimes, yeah, having a new kind of niche can sometimes bring a breath of fresh air, sometimes to
Yep.
things. But it's great. And so. What skills or principles from dating coaching have you found most applicable to sales coaching, for example?
The coaching specifically, or the act of actually dating, or the act of selling, or like the coaching itself, because they're different. Like, you mean
Yeah, it's
skill
true.
set of coaching people, or you mean for our clients, like how do they perform in their skill set?
It's a good question. I think more like the skills of dating that you've cultivated yourself through the years to actually sales in general, like all of that.
I'm curious actually your thoughts on this, because sales too, like you run a business. So
Yep.
the thing for me that I found the most similar is the energetics behind the principles. And what I mean is, like, if you know dating well, which I know you do, it's not about like lines and what you say, like some pickup line. It's not that. It's about the underlying social framework and social behaviors or social models that you use to deliver information, right? Like
Yeah.
if I like say using dating, if I tell a girl like you're my type, and I open her eyes is like, let's say like, fuck, you're my type, right? I could look at her in her eyes and be like, fuck you. Why are you here? And she'll love that, right? You,
Yeah.
you know that. Your girl is like, oh my God, what do you mean fuck me? Like, okay. The reason why, and sales is very similar. You don't start off a call like, fuck you, why are you here?
Yeah.
But the reason in sales it's similar. And the reason why is because people respond a lot more to, instead of just words, like words are important. Yes, there's tons of words and scripts that I teach my guys, but it's more so like the delivery, where these are coming from. So are you coming from a position of leadership in a place of authority, as an example? Or are you coming from a place where you're on the defensive and positioning yourself not to lose? So for a lot of sales pros I've talked to, when I see them coming onto calls, similar to how it was with dating clients, and this because you're like crushing boot camps all over Europe. So I know you understand this idea with your clients. Like, you get some guy who's clearly afraid of a woman. Like, he's coming from a place of fear and a place of defensiveness. He's
Yeah.
already starting off with the wrong foot. So no scripting, no line, whatever is going to save him, right? Sales is actually the same thing, and I didn't realize how the transition was. And it's very interesting seeing these dynamics play in real time. There's a bunch of things, but for me, the biggest one is leadership. Just the energetics behind leadership and where you're delivering information from and the place it's coming from. Those prospects, similar to a woman, can feel if you need something from them. They can feel if you're coming from a place of desperation or a place of defensiveness where you're like, I don't want to rock the boat and say something that's going to be too uncomfortable or get them too uncomfortable,
Mm.
right? It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. And I found that too. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, about the fact that it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it, it's about your frame, your mindset in the first
Mhm.
place. Because you could have the best lines, the best systems, etc. But if deep inside you don't have a great sense of who you are, who you want to become, what value you're bringing, and all of that, it's not going to work. So there's that.
100%.
Um,
100%.
Also, I think there's something to be said about, you know, in sales, you have to be the type of guy that's, if you want to be a good salesperson, in my opinion, you have to be the type of guy that's like relentless when it comes to chasing new opportunities, not chasing, but like going after new opportunities, conquering, always like, following up, doing things, like being always active. and never relying on stuff to come to you directly as well, and on always having to be the guy that initiate things as well, and takes the lead in things. And
Sales is
I
a very
think,
proactive game. It's continue,
yeah,
sorry, but sales is super proactive. You have to be active to win in sales.
yeah. There's a great book. I think it was by Jed Blount. Ultimate. Maybe you know it. I forgot what the book is. One second. Jed Blount. It was one second. I'm gonna tell you the book exactly. Got the book. Yeah, it was fanatical prospecting.
Oh,
Fanatical
fanatical
prospecting.
prospecting. I know the book. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And when I read that book, I was like, shit, this is exactly like dating a bit. Like you have to be kind of you have to always be on the go and always cultivate new
Uh-huh.
options, etc. Because if you just rely on, I mean, it depends what you want to have, obviously. But if you want to have, a lot of dates, a lot of opportunities with women, a lot of success, you got to be that guy who just
Mhm.
constantly approaches, constantly texts girls, constantly follows up, constantly leads, initiate things.
Mhm.
And I think it's kind of the same in sales in many ways. Now, obviously, psychologically as well, there's a lot of parallels. What did you want to say? Sorry, you had to
I
say
wanted to
something.
ask you something. I wanted to ask you a question because it is interesting. Because I agree partly, but I feel like, and this is something I experienced, I'm curious, like your relationship to this. At a certain point, though, in dating and in sales, possibly, but at a certain point in dating, I feel like if your market value as a man becomes so optimized, um, and you set up structures in your life in terms of just lifestyle, how you communicate, the way you make plans, like the way you connect with people in terms of social skills and the way you bring people together, you can
Yeah,
almost dating can almost become passive for you, where you don't
true,
necessarily have to do so much outreach. I think that for 90% of men, yes, you have to outreach 100%. I know for me in my dating life, and it has to be this way to you, bro, to an extent, because I see your social media. You're a hustler. You're fucking killing it. There was a certain point where I didn't really have to do so much outreach. There is a certain level of going out and like being active always.
yeah.
Like even like the top guy, like fucking Leo DiCaprio, bro, has to go out and like be social to an extent if he wants quality women, right? If he wants just like some very low quality model or whatever, he can get her, right? But if he wants quality women that challenge him, he has to make something happen. But I feel like in dating, there is a point you can get to where your dating life almost becomes passive and women are just drawn to you with minimal effort. In sales, I don't know if you hit this point. The only parallel I would see in sales would be like if the marketing of the company is so good and there's so much trust and so much proof and so much buy-in, you can, I think, get to that point too, similarly in sales. But if you just want to make more money with those prospects who are not bought in, you have to chase them, right? So I don't know. It was interesting. I agree with you, but I think there's a point in dating you can get to where you have a passive dating life too.
Of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I absolutely agree with that. The higher status you are, usually the more passive your attraction mechanisms are going to be in some way
Mm-hmm.
at some point. And we see this with social circle building. I mean, when you have a social circle, you have people around, you have women you know. If you go to a party and women, I mean, women are talking about you because they know you first, or maybe, I mean, myself, I'm a DJ. A good example was last weekend. Last weekend, I was DJing at some club, at some party, and I invited some girls there, and I mean, the one girl, I saw a girl there. I took her Instagram, and she saw that I was DJing. She saw that I was basically, I knew all these girls, and like she sent me a message out of the blue, like, "Hey, can I stay at your place tonight?" like something like that. And I just talked with her like 10 minutes while DJing, and she saw that I was DJing and stuff. And so it's so easy. Sometimes they see that,
But
okay, he's kind
she
of an
doesn't know that you're
authority.
a man of God who would never ever let a woman stay at your place because you after you DJ, I know you go home and pray and read the Bible and that's it. I know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's be
No,
clear
but
about that.
I was flirting with her during the party, and we exchanged Instagram, and then she was like
Yeah,
so direct, you know. But the reason
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
she was so direct is because she saw that I had so much pre-selection and social proof
Of
already
course,
that it was like safe for her to say that.
sure.
So I think there's a
And
way where, yeah,
sorry to cut you off, bro. But and I would even add in like not just safe. It's more like because if you look at like evolutionary biology, one of the things that women are most attracted to is as an attraction trigger is status. Like
Yeah.
it's literally status. It's like if they can find the man who has the most status in the tribe in the crowd, they want to align with that status. That's
Yeah.
it's huge. So it's yeah,
When it comes
exactly.
to, yeah, and when it comes to sales, I think, as you said, like when a company has like basically a track record of
Mhm.
giving clients results, of trust, etc. When someone comes on a sales call and they trust you, they trust the company, they trust the product, their decision is already made basically, and you don't need to, you don't even need to sell them as much. Um,
To an extent, yeah, yeah. It's a lot easier to sell when the marketing is good and when the company's done its job of like warming up the leads. You're always going to have to handle objections. There was a sales, not with every prospect I'm saying, but in sales at scale, you're going to have to handle objections. There was a guy, I won't say his name here, but he closes for Tony Robbins. He was in the program with me the sales training program I was in, and he closed for Tony Robbins. And the sales trainer would always use him as an example, like this guy, will call him John. He's like, John, who's doing calls for Tony fucking Robbins, like whatever, 5, 6, consulting calls. That's what they call them, but they're sales calls per day, 5 days a week. He has objections on like 50 to 60% of his calls for Tony Robbins. And
yeah.
it's like 1 degree away from Tony. It's literally not some Tony Robbins affiliate. He's literally on Tony Robbins' executive leadership team doing calls, right? Like big
Mm.
10 to 50K deals as in price point, right? And those people still have objections because when their card is on the line, when this like piece of metal or plastic, whatever it is on the line, bro, there's fucking fear. Like there's fear of myself, fear of themselves, fear of the future, like the unknown, fear of stuff that might have happened in the past.
Mm.
Not even like trauma, just like I invested 10K before in this agency and we didn't make money from it. So I have to think about that before I buy. So it's like
Yeah.
you're still gonna have to handle objections, and that's why I think a lot of sales pros stay broke because they don't know how to handle objections, unfortunately. But
Hmm.
that's the game.
That's true, yeah. And I had a period like that too. To be frank with you, like I had a time where I felt like I was kind of so high status. I mean, I'm not so high status. I'm okay, but I felt like in my sales call, I was so high status in a way that,
Yeah,
oh, I'm too
yeah.
good. I'm too good for dealing with objections. If the prospect doesn't want to buy, I'm not going to force it. Fuck it. On to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I was almost too good to deal with objections. And I felt like it would be lower value for me. Like I would lower my value if I would like try to kind of deal with objections. I had that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, but now I agree. I'm more into like now I'm the type of guy when a guy has an objection, I try to go deep with him, even for sometimes 15 minutes, 20 minutes, trying to go over everything. But before
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I'm too good for this. I don't need to deal with
Sure.
objections. If the
I felt
prospect
the
doesn't
same
want
way
to
too.
do, fuck him.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
felt the exact same way.
Uh,
But then I was losing money, and I was like, okay, I need to make money.
yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you don't want to force it, but you have to realize that forcing a little bit is actually the best way to help them because they're just they're just sabotaging themselves. If your product is good, that's how you truly help them. Mhm.
Exactly. Or I would even add in, like, I agree with that. If the product's good, you owe it to the prospect, assuming you want to actually help someone. Not saying you're like Mother Teresa trying to be a saint here. I have to help people and because my heart bleeds for the prospect. None of that shit. Just, okay, this person has a fucking problem. We have a solution. And if you pay me, I'm going to solve your problem. So if you don't take on the responsibility of handling objections, you're actually basically telling the prospect like your problem is not worth it for me to solve. It's not. Because what's interesting is like, let's say as a sales pro or business owner, every month there are 10 sales you should make. Let's just a random number. 10 sales. Let's say you're going to get 30 sales calls and there are 10 of those people who will buy. We don't know the future, but let's say on some weird alternate reality or like multiple universe theory, all 10 of those people should buy from you from these calls. You don't know if they will because you might fuck it up or they might find a way to not buy, but there is a way they will buy. 20 people will not buy no matter what. Okay. Maybe they're disqualified financially. Out of those 10 people, what's going to happen is 5 of them is going to be like laydowns, what we call, where it's easy. It's just like they may ask some questions about the timing. Okay, when does the program start? That's easy. It starts here. Okay, cool. I'm in. Do you have a payment plan? Yeah, we can do break it into 2 payments. Cool. All right. The other 5 people who could buy are going to tell you, okay, cool. I just want to like think about it for a bit and then get back to you. Or they're going to say, can you send me an email and then I'll get back to this in 2 weeks. or they're going to say, not for your
Yeah.
offer or my old offer. They won't say this for your offer, but can I go talk to my wife? You know, or maybe they
Yeah.
will say it for your offer and they still want to come pimp and hang out, after they talk past
Rarely,
their
but
wife.
yeah. Yeah.
Very, very, very rarely.
Yeah.
But they'll say, can I go talk to the wife about it? Or I'm going to go pray on it, bro. I've gotten that one too. Those people will still buy. They will buy because there is a way, there is a narrow path that you can take to get them to buy on the call. And if you don't take that path, they won't come back, or maybe 1 out of 5 of them comes back. And you just lost whatever it is. If you're a closer, like 3K in the month or 4K, or if you're a business owner, you just lost
Hmm.
20, 30K from those calls that you didn't close, right? So I would say it's not necessarily being pushy. I mean, you can be pushy or like push for it, but to me, objection handling is just problem solving at a very high level. It's just solving problems. Like when someone tells me I want to think about it, my first response is, yeah, it's all good, bro. You can go think about it. I'm just curious, like what's coming up for you. Just see if I can help you. That's it. It's zero, zero, like, hey, bro, let's talk. Stay here. Don't jump off.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
of
like,
course. Yeah,
what's actually coming up, dude? If I
yeah.
have to talk to my partner, okay, cool, go talk to her. I just before you go, does she want you to make money too, or is it just a you thing? No, no, she wants me to make money. Okay, cool. So like, what would have stopped you guys from doing something like this before? Just curious.
Hmm.
And then you have a conversation around solving problems,
Yeah.
and that's like the game. So it feels good when you can do it consistently. I love it. Solving objections,
Hmm.
man.
Yeah, yeah. At first, I mean, whenever they give you an objection, you have to kind of agree with them and say, "Hey, yeah, I completely understand. Yeah, thanks for letting me know, blah blah blah," and then go into the problem solving part, which is asking
Yeah.
questions and seeing if you can see if you can find holes in the in his thinking, basically, in a way, or in I mean, maybe there's something that he's not thinking about that if he thinks about, he will have a different change of mood and change of mind. Um,
Yeah, it's like, does the logic of this objection make sense? Because people make buying decisions. They make buying decisions backed by logic and then
yeah.
move forward with emotion. So all decisions for someone to buy has to be logical. Like, do I feel like this can help me? Like, yes or no. The logic of, will this help me? Yes. Okay, it would help me. The logic's there. The logic of, do I need this in my life right now? Yes. Let's use a dating offer. Like, I was working on a dating offer for a while. Dating offer. Do I need this right now? Do I need Limo's coaching and training to actually help me like expand my mindset and meet more women? Yes, because I've been stagnating. I'm sure you get this prospect. Like, spent all my life on career, working in finance, and now I'm ready to get out in the dating game. And I'm, let's say, 29, 30 years old. I want to get a girlfriend maybe in 3, 4 years, but I've only been with like 3 girls, and I just spent time like in business the whole time, right? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So now the logic makes sense. But then, in order to transcend the fear, because there's fear preventing them, when someone says, "I want to think about it," or let me get back to you, it's not like they're shaking in their boots, like shuddering, but it's just that there's the unknown, right? And for them to pay 3K, 5K, 10K, whatever the price point is, for them to pay that, they're taking a risk. They are 100% taking a risk on their end and trusting with the best of their knowledge that after they make this investment, that there will be a return, whether that's an emotional return or like a lifestyle return, dating or business return, business coaching, something like that, right? So there is an
Mhm.
element of fear, but the key is like, can the emotional momentum of them moving forward to a sale, can that transcend their fear on the call? Because then they'll buy. And the key is getting those emotions when you're handling objections and making sure the logic all makes sense and the prospect knows the logic makes sense. So there's no logic that would prevent them from doing this. And if there's no logic preventing you from doing this, okay, then what's left? It's just actually,
Mhm.
do you want to make a commitment to yourself to be this kind of man who can meet women? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. And are you ready to put in the work and take action? Yes. Okay. And why? You don't have to, because there's the emotion. Okay, then let's get started, brother. Like, what else is left? There's nothing else left. Be that man. And then you have, like, you close. It's logic and emotion. That's the game, man.
Hmm.
That's the game.
What do you think works best? Like when someone says, for example, because a lot of people say, "I need to think about it. I don't have the
Mm-hmm.
time." But
Mm-hmm.
usually, the main thing is the money. In my
Mm-hmm.
experience, I mean,
Correct.
one of the main
Yes.
things is the money,
Yeah.
100%. And so usually myself, I mean, what I revert to doing, and which is not the best thing, is I try to kind of give them a discount and then another discount and then
Mm.
see what they can work with. And sometimes I end up going from my program at 3K to giving them an offer at 1K, which is more like
Mm-hmm.
self-paced or stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and try to accommodate
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But But I mean, what do you think works best in those type of situations? And yeah, what would you recommend? Because you've been in the dating space, etc.
Yeah, when I consult with business owners, I always start the first thing is like never ever negotiate your prices lower.
Mm,
I should say I should qualify that. Never negotiate your prices lower in order to get someone to buy as like a primary option, if that makes sense. The only time I will ever price negotiate ever is when all logic has been tied up, and I'll explain what that means in a second, but when all the logic has been tied up and there's nowhere for them to go, and they're like, okay, just out of principle, can you give me a discount? And I'm ready to pay it all now. I'm like, cool, bro, I'll give you our old price. I'll shave down $500 if you're in
mm,
now. Every time they're like, cool, I'm paying the whole thing in full. Right. That's the only time. Payment plans, I'm cool with too. If the program is 5K, I'll say, brother, just split it into two. Like, let's do 26, 26, 2,600, 2,600 over 2 months. I know you're good for it. Come on in and just make the finances easier. That's fine. Price discounts, no. The reason is because the thing that's causing them to not buy is not the money. That's not the thing. Like, the price is a lot, and they may not want to spend that. They may not be happy about spending that. Like, when I got stupid example, when I got this MacBook, like I have a nice brand new MacBook or my iPhone. I'm sure it was similar for you. Like, are you happy to like give the Apple store like $1,500? Like, are you excited to see the money leave
mm.
the account? No, it doesn't feel great, but I want the
Yeah.
phone. So me getting this phone is worth it, right? So it's the
Mhm.
same thing with the buying decision. They're not saying no because they don't actually have the money. They're saying no because to them the potential consequence of them investing and losing that money has not been solved in their own head, which is what's causing
Mm,
them to not make a decision. So if you were to say like, here, come in for 500, 1,000, you're basically throwing money in the trash because they could buy for 3,000. You just have to solve the objections, right? So
mm,
I'll never start off with price negotiations. There's actually like a very specific protocol you can use to solve objections. I'll give it here. Like, I give all that shit away for free. If you want to talk about it, we can. It's fun. I love objections, man. So we can
mhm,
do it. But there's a specific protocol to use. So if someone says it's a lot of money, the first thing we always need to do, we call these, the way I train my guys is I call it lines of logic. You have to make sure that your logic surpasses and beats theirs. Someone's logic's going to win. So when a prospect tells me, if they're like, okay, this sounds really good, that's just a lot of money, man. There's a bunch of ways they could say that. Let's pretend it's that. The first thing I'll do before we do anything, I'm going to almost cut them off. Like, right after they say that, I'll say, yeah, it is a lot of money. Um, what you want, like, in your future, we'll use dating. What you want in your future to be able to, like, find like your dream woman and be able to date a bunch of girls over the next year, brother. That's also a lot, right? Like, I think that's more valuable than like a fucking Tesla, which is like 65K. Would you not agree? And they'll be like, no, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So finances aside, all right, that logic is now off the table. So you can't come
mm,
back to it. Can't use it again, right? Because it doesn't make sense anymore. You've handled it. So now we need to figure out what's actually going on, because it's not the money, because they have the money. Assuming that you screened for finances before, if some dude has $200, you can't do anything, right? But
yeah.
he has the money. So then after that, we need to do something called double buy-in and double buy-in. Because again, logic first. You can't handle objections with a person. The same thing in dating, by the way. You can't handle objections or move something forward if the person doesn't actually want to do it or see the value in it. It's like taking a girl home from the bar. I'm sure you teach this to your guys.
Yeah.
A girl's not going to want to come home with you if she's like not attracted to you. Attracted
Yeah.
doesn't mean she thinks you're like Henry Cavill or like the most handsome man in the world, right? But it just means where there's some significant part of her where she's like, if I was trapped on a desert island with this guy, I wouldn't be mad. Like, I'd be like, okay, cool. I'm okay with him. Like, he's cool. I would say yes to. I would swipe right on Tinder.
Yeah.
So in sales, the same thing needs to happen. So after I move the finances and the logic of it aside, the next thing is logic about working with us in the program. So I'm going to ask them first. I'm like, just curious, like, based on what we went through here, as far as the process, moving aside finances and all that, do you feel like this actually can help you to be in a position where you have the kind of relationships and you have the dating options you want? Yes or no? Just that. Because I need to know if they're on the same page as me. Because if they're not, if they're like, I'm not sure, okay, I'm not handling any objections. Now I just need to know, what did I fuck up in the pitch? Because they should think by this point that my program is God's gift to all men. They should think that. So normally, if you've pitched correctly, they'll say yes. Yeah, and I feel like it can. It's not enough. Why do you feel like it can? Like, can you break down exactly why you feel it can help you? They'll explain why. because the accountability, because this, because that. I think the support, 3 months, all that. Okay, cool. Awesome stuff, man. Very good. If it's just finances, I'm breaking the role play for a second. If it's only finances they're talking about, then I probably won't say anything outside of finances and just talk money with them. It's not, a lot of times it's other things besides finances, but you can test it. And the way I test it is I'm just like, let's say, dude, we were to drop like freaking 5K right now in your lap and just God gave it to you from heaven. Would you invest it here to start the program? You're like, yes or no? Like, would you begin? And if they say no, you're like, or they say, I'm not sure, I don't know. Well, now we have the real thing. So what's actually coming up for you, brother? Like if they're like, I'm not sure. Okay, what's really coming up for you? Just to see if I can help. And then we'll get the answer. It's either going to be some fear of the past. It's going to be, I'm really busy. I don't know if I'll be able to use this. We have to handle that. Something's going to come up. Or just be finances. And if it's just finances, you're like, no, it's really good. I just have a lot of money. Yeah, it's not, I mean, I have a lot of expenses. No worries, brother. If we were to break it into like a payment structure over a couple months, would that help you to move forward today? Another test. They say no, it wouldn't help me to move forward. Okay, it's not finance, it's something else. If they said yes, it would help me to move forward. Well, there we go. You could do it in 2 months or 3 months. Which one works for you? It's a process of discovery.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. And thanks for sharing all that, by the way. I think a lot of the listeners, no, it's good. A lot of the listeners and the viewers are going to find a lot of value in it. You're literally dropping bombs on the podcast, it's great. It's great. Dropping some sauce, some sales riz.
Sales riz, my guy.
But
this stuff is super fun, man. Handling objections is really fun. And when you know how to do it, it's a skill that'll help you for life. And it shouldn't feel like pulling teeth. It's just a conversation. Like it's really just a conversation, just a problem solving conversation. That's it.
Yeah. And by the way, like when I said discount earlier, I don't really discount like the mentoring. I just give them another option with less support. Basically, I give them downsell basically. Because that's something that could work for people who only have a limited budget. They don't have the 3K, for example. They only have like maybe 500 or 1,000 that they can spare. So then I would give them that, because sometimes they don't want to do the 2 times 1,500 or 2 times 2K or whatever.
But that's the key. So, they don't want to do it. They can do it. They don't want to do it. Is it they don't want to do it because I know your program is packed with value. Like it there's no way it's not. I've seen your stuff. So is it that they don't want to do it? Because if they don't want to, I'm going to figure out why you don't want to do it. Or is that
no, they don't
can't do it?
A lot of them can't because they don't earn enough, or they don't have enough spare cash per month. Because otherwise that would basically, they have rent to pay, they have stuff to pay. But do you think like what do you think about future projections also on the call? Basically, to deal with objections, like future projecting a future state or future situation, so that they feel like basically what they're going to get in the future is worth so much more than like the pain of just pulling out their credit card and being like having it sting a little financially for in the short term, basically, like future projecting. Because what I do sometimes, sorry, one last thing. What I do sometimes is I like to say, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen and what's the best thing that could happen? Because the worst thing would be, yeah, maybe you spend $500, $1,000, and maybe it's gonna stink for a few days, but you're going to know exactly what to do with women. You're going to know exactly how to do it, and you're going to be able to get dates for the rest of your life. Or like basically, I give them like the worst thing, the best thing. What do you think about this technique of like
so it doesn't go into the objection handling frameworks that I personally teach. The reason is, and I've heard this, it's who does that? Is it Cole Gordon? I think who teaches that?
Jordan Belfort too.
Jordan Belfort. The reason I'm not a fan of it, at least with modern sales, like the remote closing stuff, from what I've seen and the people I've learned from, is because it allows the prospect to have a to almost lead themselves with their own logic, and it gives them like an open field. I don't want there to be an open field. Like what if you did this or this? What are your thoughts? I want it to be either a yes or a no. Like a crossroads. Like either a crossroads, you become this person or you become that person. So I would say I would do a version of that in objection handling, where it'd be more like, we'll keep using the dating offer. Let's say I probably would tell them, I'd say, brother, there's like one version of you who walks away from the future he wants to have, and he doesn't get that because of the uncertainty about what's next. But I know you do feel like we can help you, or you wouldn't be on this call, correct? You see, I'm not giving him an open road, just like a yes or no binary, like a crossroads. He
Mm.
says
I
yes,
like that.
yes. Okay, good. So that future version of you, then, that future version of you who is connecting with women, who does have dating freedom, who does have the lifestyle he wants, who is happy and confident in himself, what's the decision that he makes here to make sure and secure that that happens, brother? Frankly, it's not walking away and taking more time between himself and that future. It really isn't. You definitely can make that decision here. That's a yes or no. That's a no.
Mm.
He'll
It's a
be
good point.
confronted. And it's just they'll be uncomfortable and stuff. And you say, "What's coming up for you?" And you just dig deeper, 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 and close off the
Mm.
doors of logic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good point. And one thing is like, so you've always stuck to coaching. Like you said, you love
Yeah,
coaching people,
love coaching
and
people.
this is really what you love. So what do you love the most about it? And do you see yourself still doing this like 10 years from now, for example?
I think there'll always be an element of me coaching, whether it's my future children or
Yeah,
me
sure.
coaching clients. I don't know. Like there's always going to be an element because I just love coaching people. I'll be really transparent. Like it's not so much like I love serving people and helping people. It's not that. Like I like to help people, but it's more so I really really love understanding communication and what makes people tick. That's a huge thing for me. I love observing personalities, character traits, and then seeing how I can allow someone else to use these fundamental tools that I know work in different processes and see other people apply them and then have success. That makes me really, really excited because it's like taking an extension of what I've learned, which I've like in dating as an example, I got relatively bored of it because I felt like I had kind of gotten everything I wanted in dating. So there was nothing else to like learn there at a certain point. It was just, I get how girls work. The rest of it would be relationships, maybe. I don't want to coach
Mm.
relationships. I tried. It was terrible. I coached women. It was a horrible experience. Um, so like for me with sales is like understanding this like mental architecture, these frameworks of how objections work, how leadership works, and being able to mess with these ideas, give them to other people, and place them in an arena where they can actually make money from it and see the returns on that is like a validation to me that what I'm learning actually works, and that's really really exciting to me. That's super fun
Mhm.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can really relate to that as well. And usually the people who come to you to become a remote closer, for example, are they like are they people who are already closing, who were already closing before coming across your services, or it could be people who had a who have a 9 to 5 or who are still don't have their business and then they want to become a remote closer.
It's actually the other half. It's mostly business owners and remote closers. So I
Hmm.
had I think two guys who were like not in the space at all, but they knew about closing and just wanted to invest in a program and chose my program. But most of the people I work with are either business owners doing even from I won't say his name. I don't know if you would care or not, but I won't say it. Just the program that we met in from the business
Yeah,
coach we were invested in. One of the guys in that program works with me now in my thing because he
nice.
found me through that program we were in. So like I work with 6 and 7 figure business owners and help them build sales systems and processes better. I coach them. And then I'm working with remote closers, helping them get to like 10, 15K. It's
Hmm.
really not guys who are not in the sales space at all, because that's not my niche necessarily. I'm
Yeah.
not preaching guys, hey, make money online with this new undiscovered secret. It's like if you're already making money and you're just tired of losing money and you want to make more money using these principles, then
Hmm.
here's how I'll help.
So it's not just
You know?
for closers, it's also for business owners who close.
Dude,
Hmm.
yeah. Because they're on sales calls, bro. As a business owner, if you're like I said, that
Yeah,
number 10, if you're supposed to be closing 10 deals and you close five and your program's 5K, you just lost 25K. Every
yeah,
month you don't close sales that you should be closing, you're losing money.
nice. So it actually applies to me too. You can close me actually. I'm a potential target.
You're a potential lead. And I want to
Yeah.
ping this back to you because the people who watch this podcast, who are they? Are they like people in your dating niche or just like who is this sent out to?
So, I mean, usually, yeah, you're gonna have business owners who watch this,
Yeah.
definitely, because I coach a lot of business owners and a lot of people in my audience are business owners, but it could be also the average
They're
Joe.
people. Got you. So the
Yeah,
people who watch this, the people who you're sending this out to are like people who would work with you potentially. Like there's a guy watching this right now who's a fan of your
yeah,
stuff. Okay,
as well,
so you motherfuckers, when you get on your next call with Limo, if you guys
yeah.
let your own fear prevent you from giving your card to Limo to process and change your life, you are, I don't know, I'm gonna stop there. You guys get where I'm going with this. Don't give him objections. It's
Yeah.
just unnecessary. He's very good at what he
Thanks,
does.
Tim.
Trust me.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. Tim is really good too at what he does, and you can see that, guys. I mean,
Trying.
from all the things, the good stuff he shared so far, and thanks for that so far. And I had a few questions. Like, basically, I know yourself. You've been through a lot of mentorings and coachings and stuff like that. And when it comes to sales, like, who has influenced you the most? Like, who do you aspire? Like, who do you aspire to become, or what kind of person do you like in the sales space that you can relate to?
I've got to give credit where credit's due. I'm really competitive. So I always try to keep my name as close to the vest because I don't like validating other men unless they're my friends or like very close to me. But the person I learned a lot of my objection handling stuff from was Bill Walsh. He's a runs a program called the Objection Box. And I learned a
I
lot
don't
of
even know
objection
him.
handling
Bill Welsh.
from him. I said the name once, Bill Walsh. I said it. I'm not going to go more. He's my
Okay,
competitor now. But I was in
interesting.
his program, and I just have to give credit. It would be wrong for me to not do that. A lot of what I learned, I learned from him in terms of the objections. And I mastered it because of the frameworks I learned from him, and then I built onto them from my own style with the dating stuff I'd learned too. So I learned a lot of the sales stuff from him. It really changed my life. I've had other mentors. Back in the day, like Owen Cook. I'm sure you know
Of
RSD
course, yeah,
from
yeah,
back
from
in the day. Yeah,
RSD.
yeah. I learned a lot from those guys. Like I was around them when they were really like doing good stuff. And now there's a new crew of people out, like guys like yourself, when I was in the industry who are, taking over and I think providing a lot better value. But I started with them, Julian, Owen back in the day. And I've had some other underground mentors just in terms of biz development. I'd look up to my father always as a mentor consistently in my life. Always me and him are very close. But that's it. Yeah, those are some of the biggest names. It was like I had an underground mentor for a year. His name's Caleb, some guy from where's he from, New Zealand or one of those islands. He was like a Samoan guy, super talented business owner, very successful guy. And I learned from him for a year. And then the most recent investment I made was, the program we were in from Will. So that
Mhm.
was it was pretty. I learned some good things from there. And right now I'm not investing in any coaching or anything like that. I've just taking what I learned and applying it to the business, scaling and stuff. What about you?
Yeah. I was about to ask you another quick question, but myself, I mean, depends for what? For sales or for dating?
Just the game in general, like the game of everything.
The
It's
game of
all one, isn't
everything.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all one. It's all
I don't
one.
know.
I
Who's your
mean,
DJ mentor?
DJ Mentor, plenty. I mean, I don't know if you listen to house music. Do you like house music?
I
No?
like house music, but I don't. The problem is I don't know how to label what is house music. Like what house music, EDM. I just like DJs.
There's different
I don't know what the
styles. Yeah, I see
difference
what you
is.
mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you heard of Kane Music? Kane Music, no, the group? No?
No, no.
Yeah, maybe you're not made so much into the Afro house space and stuff like that.
Uh,
Uh, that's
who
fine.
are
That's
some of your
fine. But
mentors?
yeah, I've had plenty of DJs that I like so, but you don't know them, so
No, no.
like,
I meant just like business, life, all that
yeah,
stuff too.
business,
Yeah.
business and stuff. I mean, honestly, Sam Ovens was big. Sam Ovens was a
Really?
big pivot. Yeah, yeah, consulting accelerator, life changing. Even the guy that we invested into, both of us,
Mm-hmm.
the last coaching, that guy basically his training is Sam Ovens 2.0. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
basically the same style, the same things that Sam Ovens teaches in a way. But yeah, so Sam Ovens is basically he owns School right now.
Yeah.
Sam Ovens, yeah, he's the owner of School. But before he was owning Consulting.com, and
Right.
through Consulting.com he had Consulting Accelerator, Up Level, etc. And honestly, that helped me a lot. Like Sam Ovens, when it comes to business, when it comes to game and stuff. I mean, I also was, I mean, I remember the RSD days. I remember, Tyler, Madison, Julian, Derek. Derek was great. Derek was,
Really?
I really vibed with Derek. I mean, I'm not going to say
There were
bad things
two
about him.
sides. There were two sides to
I'm
the
not,
industry. People who
yeah,
love Derek and people who didn't like Derek.
yeah,
I was in
yeah,
the didn't like, but I get the people who like him too. I heard good things too.
yeah, yeah. I'm not going to say bad things about him. There's a few things that I don't want to shit talk, but
It's all good.
definitely some things can be definitely questionable about him,
Off the
but
podcast, we'll talk about all the dark secrets off the
yeah,
podcast. You guys
but
will never know.
but I do like I did like his style and his frame, and I felt like he had a very strong frame and way of saying things, and I
A lot
like
to learn
that.
from that guy. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so plenty of people, books, people, mentors, and then obviously experience, like everything else. You applying the thing is where you learn the most, applying and refining things yourself. So that's the main thing. I had like a question. So we talked about mentors. What about books though? Do you have a favorite sales book, for example, that you give your clients or something like that?
I actually haven't read any sales books.
Okay.
All the sales training I've gotten has been like from coaches, sales coaches and mentors. A lot of YouTube stuff, watching people's calls, and then like you said, experience doing it live. I have books I have learned a lot from, but just not sales books. Like I haven't learned
Yeah.
sales from books. A huge fan of Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell
Yeah.
Maltz.
Great book.
I live by that book. I think Reality Transurfing from Vadim Zeland is also very interesting. It's weird, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
I believe in that, a lot of the stuff in that book about different life. What is it called? Lifelines, timelines. I forgot the thing it talks about. But
Life
that's
pendulums.
interesting.
Pendulums.
Pendulums, but then he also has like I think it's called lifelines. Basically,
Yeah,
like it's
he
very
talks about it too.
adjacent to quantum mechanics and how there's different realities you exist in depending on the
Mm,
choices that you make at different times in your life, right? And aligning
yeah.
with the right decisions.
It's funny how,
Very interesting.
yeah. No, I was saying it's funny how so many people actually recommend this book nowadays. Like so many people tell me this book, and it's a very particular book. Honestly, I mean, I vibed with it a little bit, but for someone who isn't into spirituality and stuff like that, can be very, very hard to relate to. It's hard to
100%.
digest. It's very hard to
100%.
digest.
Absolutely. It is. It is. It's the fringes. Power of Now is also really big for me. I loved that
Yeah,
book, changed
amazing.
my life.
Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, it's a classic. Yeah. In terms of business, I love my favorite business book is $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. I made so much more money after reading that book because I just built my offer around his book. And copy pasted everything he said and did really well. The offer I have now, I based it off of that. Um, any other business stuff I read, I think From Good to Great is really good. Another one is this. There's this golf coaching book. It's called How Champions Think. It's not about golf, but it's from a golf coach, Dr. Bob Rotella. He's a professional golfing coach, and it's called How Champions Think. And I just went over it with my guys in our group. It's one of the best books I've read, and it's huge on personal development and success patterns, success theory. It's very interesting stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
some of my big ones.
Awesome, awesome. And so I had another question. So yourself, I mean, you're a high performing guy. I see the boxing gloves in the background. You do
Some
boxing. You go
decoration.
to the gym. You have
I
some
box a
nice
lot.
habits. Yeah, you got some great habits, etc. Do you have like a kind of a daily kind of routine as a high performance sales guy, or that you give your clients, or not really? Like anybody can.
I always feel weird with the questions around routines. Not because the question itself is a problem, but it's because I feel like there's so many different ways to just like execute. And I don't know if I'm sure you know Alex Ramosi. He talked about this.
Yeah, he talks
He was
about the
saying,
routines. Yeah, are kind
yeah,
of
but
bullshit.
he's
Yeah,
like, yeah, he's anti-routine. He's like, he
yeah,
just like wakes up, has a coffee, and just sits down and like works. So for
yeah.
me, what I will say is this: I do have a routine. Actually, I do have a routine. But it's more like a routine to find like balance and consistency. I don't have a routine like a self-development routine. I don't have that. I just have
Hmm.
things that I won't do and that I'll minimize doing in my life over like right now my thing is sugar and it's gonna fucking kill me because I love sugar, but I'm gonna go without sugar as long as possible. Besides natural sugars like apple, berries, and stuff like that. I love candy and it's bad. Um,
Yeah,
if you ever see me on a sales call, I literally am like eating candy during
really.
sales calls. Yeah, it's terrible. Um, so what I'll do is I have things I minimize, like porn, sugar. I always have to sleep 8 hours. I just have standards. I'll have always sleep 8 hours. I minimize scrolling as much as I can. So I'll have like I'll kind of cut out scrolling to an obsessive level. I'll turn my phone on grayscale at times, like for most of the day, just so I'm not stimulated by the popping colors and I just don't even want to look at my phone.
Hmm.
I'll do that, and then I wake up always after sleeping 8 hours. So I don't have a certain time I have to wake up, but just I'll sleep 8 hours, and after 8 hours I'm awake. and then I'll walk my dog in gym and then work. So outside of that, there's no like routine. I think I just described a routine, but
Yeah.
that's the routine. Like it's just I get to work as fast as possible. Leave my house,
Mm.
sometimes go out to a co-working space that I rent, like an office space, because I like working outside of the house. Today I'm in my apartment. But if I don't have calls or meetings and stuff, or if I'm not shooting YouTube videos and it's just writing ads, writing copy, building up the course, I'll write stuff like I'll just go to the office, go to a cafe, see pretty ladies while I'm working and stuff, and be around there. It's more
Yeah.
motivating, more stimulating. That's me.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And I mean, because honestly, myself, for example, I love to take sales calls after a
Mm-hmm.
great session at the gym and a sauna. Like if I do a great session at the gym and a sauna, I feel so in the zone and so relaxed
Mm-hmm.
that when I'm on a sales call, I am like so chill and so like basically I feel good, super good, you know. Whereas if I just take a sales call just after waking up
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't go to the gym yet, eat yet, I didn't do anything yet, I'm still going to be sharp. Like I can still be sharp. I know how to speak sharply, even though I didn't sleep well or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I'm still going to feel a lot better if I go to the gym and sauna and stuff like that. You don't have that yourself? You don't feel that first?
Nah,
No.
I have things I need to do. Like I need to sleep well. I have to do that. I actually, I'll be straight up, man. I hate working out. I work out 5 days a week and I work out hard, but I hate working out. I still haven't gotten to the point where I love it. Today I was in the gym with my trainer and we ended the workout. I'm walking out of the gym and I just screamed. It's like a small gym. We all know each other. And I just screamed, I fucking hate lifting weights because it was tough today, man. I have a neck injury and it was freaking hard. So I don't
Shit.
like working out. For me, bro, I just perform like I treat it like an athlete. Like I have routines again that help me kind of perform consistently, but it's like I just have to show up and just have to work. Like I have to do it. At least with sales calls, taking 5, 6 a day, I felt like shit half the time, but I'm like I have to do it. So I just learned the skill set, and
Hmm.
skill sets over everything. Um, I must say though, for
Do
creating content and making YouTube videos, I have to feel good, and I have routine for that.
hmm. Nice. Do you feel like anybody can become a great salesperson, even if they're really introverted, even if they don't have the right personality type, or
Would it be personality type? Actually, it's not intro. Well, personality type, yes. Introversion, that doesn't matter. I think you can do fine at sales if you're an introvert. I don't believe you need to be social to do sales. It's not really about that. And I know many
Hmm.
introverts who are charismatic as fuck, and they're fine. Uh, I haven't answered. I haven't found the answer to this question yet. Because what I do know is that there has to be a certain level of fearlessness and willingness to go through resistance that you have to be good at sales. You have to. I don't think that everyone has that. And in terms of the technique and the scripting and the structures, the strategies, yes, everyone can learn that. That's fine. But but really leading a person and stepping into leadership, I don't know if everyone can do that. And I have yet to fully answer that because I haven't been a coach for a long enough time. Maybe after in 3, 4 years, I'll have more data and I'll be like, everyone can or everyone can't. Um,
Hmm.
or sorry, some people can't. Excuse me. But as of right now, if I had to before God pick an answer and hope that I'm right, I would bet that there's some people who just can't do it. Just because of their own childhood, the way they were raised, the way they perceive the world, their limiting beliefs. Some of those things I think you probably could overcome with years and years and years and years of hardwiring, but then it just becomes so ridiculous where it's not worth it at that point. Just go do
Hmm.
something else with your time. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
As much as it's a dark answer.
No, it's an honest answer, and yeah, it's a nuanced answer for sure. I mean, there's nuances always, but like, what are some unique
I
challenges that? Sorry.
will you forget the question? Because I want to ask you that question too with dating, because it's a question that always plagued me and I never got the answer after my dating years. Will you forget the
Yeah.
question you were going to ask? We're good.
No, no, no. I know the question I'm going to ask, but you're
Okay.
asking me basically, can anyone become great at dating?
Do you think that, yeah, if you had to like hand over your heart before God, I know some of your future clients might be watching this, but do you feel, Limo, that like every man can be good with women? I'm not talking about find a girlfriend. I'm talking about
Hmm.
good with women.
I mean, there's definitely a subset of guys who are doomed. There's a subset who are really, really doomed. Maybe physically, maybe it's a trauma that they really have. Maybe it's like the handicap or whatever. They're never going to be as good as a guy who doesn't have all of that. They're never going to be as good as a guy who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have all that. But they still they can still learn, they can still be ahead, like even psychologically, of 99% of the other guys. They can still learn a lot of things and still get a bit of success, but it's never going to be as good as a guy who has more ease in many other ways. So I think some guys have more
Interesting.
ease than others. Some guys, I mean, any guy can learn, any guy can improve, but certainly some guys are more cut out for it than others. And yeah, I mean, looks matter too, to be honest, in a way. A lot of people who tell you looks don't matter, they're lying. Looks matter a
Mhm.
little bit. However, you can compensate, obviously, with good personality, a strong frame, a strong mind, all of that. But looks matter, money matters, status matters, a lot of things matter. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, yeah, if you really look like shit, if you really like don't have a lot of these things, like it's gonna be hard. And
Mhm.
some guys are gonna be a bit at a very big disadvantage. But still, you can still make it work. You can still have, a few options if you want. You can
Sure.
still,
Sure.
learn these things. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Mhm. Interesting. I never figured it out as a dating coach. And I was a dating coach for 5, 6 years. You see people in all transparency, like there's people who come into programs who don't have success and people who do, right? Like I don't know what the success rate is, but as much as I'd love to say like everyone gets success if they work with me, work with you, like no, not everyone will. But I never really knew. I don't even know if it's just looks because I on the looks hand, I think everyone can work on their looks. Like if you like, you can work on your looks. But for me, the thing that would prevent me from saying all guys can have success would be more like mindsets and limiting beliefs
Yeah,
and like
mindset
just
is big.
willingness to be different and willingness to like go forward and win. I feel like some people just aren't cut out to do that, and because
Mm,
like it's tough to have success with women. If you're starting now, for me it feels easy. I'm sure for you it feels easy, but we don't look at the journey it took to make it to this point. You kind of forget about that. Maybe you haven't, but I know for me sometimes I forget about that. I'm like, oh, it's just easy, natural. But if I look back at how I was at like 21, 20, 19, whatever in college, like no, it was very, very tough to get to that point in dating. And I feel like some men just don't have that in them to want to go through that or be willing to go through it, even if they spend on coaching. They just don't have
mm.
that in them. And in sales too. Same thing in sales.
Yeah,
I
same in
had two
business,
people
same in
drop out of my
fitness.
sales program. Yeah.
Same. It's same for everything. Some guys are just not gonna be, just don't have what it takes to attain a high level in a skill set like those, and that's the sad reality. That's it. But yeah, it's funny because now basically you transitioned from B2C kind of to kind of B2B, like you're working with businesses, with business owners, etc. So I was always wondering because in my opinion, like there's more money in working with B2B usually because it's guys who are already making money and you're in the making money space, making more money space. So do you feel like do you think that the sales aspect and the making money aspect of your business is a lot easier with your offer right now than dating? Or do you feel like, yeah, I mean, both are the same,
Yeah,
B2B
no,
and
it's
B2,
easier.
B2C?
It's easier.
Mm,
It's easier. I'd love to lie and be like, no, bro, it's not. No, it's fucking easier, bro.
mm,
Because you're just casting a wider net. You're
mm,
casting a wider net. And something else what I would say is, and I have to like tip my cap. I have a cap, so I can actually tip my cap to you. Like in a lot of with a lot of respect is um taking on the responsibility of helping men be better versions of themselves through learning like self mastery through the angle of dating, through the lens of dating, is a very tough task to take on. And I gave up on it.
mm,
Like 100%, I gave up on it. And I've had a lot of success doing it. I made hundreds of thousands as a dating coach, but I could have taken it further, not just into business. I'm saying help more guys. We were on really onto something interesting, and I gave up on it and pivoted to sales. Um, it's very interesting because what I found is, and one of the struggles I found, and I'm telling you guys, like some of you who are watching this now, have followed Limo, who are sitting in the shadows, there's always those people been looking at the videos. You've clicked on the little funnel once and looked at us Calendly and then exit out of it. You know who you are because I've been there too myself in those situations. One of the big reasons why a lot of guys don't see success is because they just keep putting off. Like, I'm going to handle my dating life and relationships now. I'm going to handle it. I'm going to put it off. I'm going to put it off. Like now
yeah.
is not the time to make time for it yet. It's not the time yet, right? In sales, in teaching and working with businesses, and I'm still B2C because I work with closers who want to make more money. So it's like a hybrid. They're not business owners, they're closers. Um, for them, I never get like any objection around it's not the time. It's always just like finances, or do I trust you to help me get results? Are you that good? Right.
Mm.
So with dating though, I think it's way harder because there's so many guys. When I had an appointment setter, like doing my DMs on Instagram like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and we would look at the DMs together constantly, guys. I'm just working on myself, bro. I'm just working on myself. Bro,
True.
like
I
meeting,
get that too.
connecting with women and handling relationships is a part of working on yourself. It's like you have health, wealth, and love. Love is a part of working on yourself. It's a journey of self-discovery, having a woman who's invested in you and cares about you, or multiple women. That's part of self-development. At least that's how I think about it. So it's 100% more difficult. Definitely the dating space. You can make money though. You can make lots of money because guys need help.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yeah,
more
and it's
limiting
a
beliefs.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a broad market. There's some money, etc., to be made, that's for sure. But even myself, I have to relate to you. There's a lot of people which time is a big issue. A lot of guys who, unfortunately, a lot of guys who are very interested in dating, most of them are broke. Most of them are broke guys, because a lot of them, like they're broke, like they're either students or they're either like just starting out, like they want to date, but they don't have the finances, or they're too
Mm.
preoccupied with learning dating that they don't make time for really handling their finances. So a lot of them, yeah, there's a lot of problems like that, whereas in a B2B space like yours, I feel like people have already an established thing, they already have some money, they think about money. So I was
Yeah.
always wondering, yeah, because to be honest, I thought about transitioning into more like business coaching, stuff like that as well. But then also I didn't want to be like a kind of a niche swapper. I see, because I saw I mean, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. You, it's great. It's a good move. It's
I
a good
feel
move.
attacked here, guys. You've seen it live.
Nah,
Limo attacked me. Let's cancel
nah,
it.
nah,
I was attacked.
at all. But I know like a lot of people that, they niche swap like in different things, and then they don't end up mastering and really being at the peak of that field, for years. And
100%.
yeah, and so that's always a dilemma. That's always a dilemma. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, still love coaching, dating. I still see myself dating for a long time. Maybe at some point I will coach about business too. I'm curious yourself if like how do you see the future of your company? Do you want to expand this to having other instructors below you who are also instructing sales? Sorry. Do you want to do seminars all over the world and teach sales? Like, for example, maybe Daniel G, or the other guy, Jeremy Minor,
Jeremy
stuff like
Minor.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or Andy, the guy who sells cars, the
Andy
guy who's like
Elliott.
super
Yeah, yeah.
tough. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All these guys. Like, do you see yourself a bit like these guys at some point, or not
I
really?
want to build the RSD of sales. That's what I want to build.
Hmm.
Super fun for
Interesting.
young guys. Not weird shit. And I think we're almost there in the industry, in the market. The only thing that's missing is that no one shows their sales calls. That's the thing that's
Hmm.
missing.
True.
I'm
Yeah.
showing mine. No one shows their sales calls. They don't show their sales calls. Remember how RSD started putting out their like footage and it changes the game? People don't
Hmm.
show their sales calls. I don't know why. Fear or whatever, or privacy. But yeah, so I want to build that. That's my goal, man. Show a lot of proof, show a lot of footage of me closing, get my guys super good, my people I train. So there's a couple guys I've really have my eye on now that are in my space and my community who are elite level guys that are building up to a really high level. Get them good and bring them in, and we build some cool shit, man. I already
Hmm.
have the channel, so keeping the channel going, putting out better content, making the content fun, relatable, combining self mastery, self development with sales, elite objection handling, all that, and show proof, 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 proof. Here's me closing deals. Here's the deals. Here's the deals. I'm not just talking. I'm showing you. That's it.
Hmm.
That's the game
Yeah,
plan.
I like the story you posted very recently of a call that you closed in the story, and that was really interesting. So no, those are great, man. Those video breakdowns. But I feel like your industry is getting a lot more competitive. You see a lot of guys teaching remote closing, stuff like that. You see Jack Hopkins, you see Luke
Yeah,
Alexander,
yeah,
you
yeah.
see a lot of the people in the space like that. It's kind of a trend with appointment setting too. I feel like
Yeah.
appointment setting and closing are like trending as fuck since like
Appointment
1 or
setting
2
died a
years.
little bit. It died a little
Yeah,
bit. Now
died a little
everyone's going to
bit.
closing, and then it's going to bounce out to appointment setting again because there's too many closers now. There's too many closers and not enough offers. Like there's more closers than offers. So,
Hmm.
but it's good because the next trend of the industry is getting the closers good. Right. That's what I'm targeting. My mission is not I'm going to teach you how to make money from your laptop. fuck that. If you want to learn from the best and you've never closed before, you can start with me. Cool. But my headline on my ads is not going to be, do you want to learn how to make money online? It's like, no, if you are a closer and you want to make 10K, but you're like stuck at 3, 4K, I'm going to teach you how to double your income every month. That's my mission, man.
Yeah. And
We'll see where we
so
go.
how do you, yeah. And so how do you, I know you have a call soon. I have a call soon too.
Yeah, an hour.
And yeah, man, we're going
It's
to do
actually my
it quick.
training session with my guys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. It's at 6 p.m. Now is it 5 p.m. in Budapest?
It's 1 hour before you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have so many things to ask you still. I mean, the move to Budapest,
I'm
why
good right up until
Budapest?
the
And
hour. Yeah, I'm good.
yeah, yeah, but it's like seven minutes, right? It's in
Yeah.
7 minutes. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know which question would be the most important. I mean, let's do it quick, okay? Why Budapest? And what do you think about
Girl.
living in like some Eastern European country when it comes to business?
Yeah.
Real quick.
I mean, the Hungarians would call it Central European, but met a girl.
Yeah,
We in the West
central,
call
more
it Eastern.
central.
It was east of the
Yeah.
Berlin Wall. But anyway, I have a girl here. She's Hungarian, so I moved here because I could live in the U.S. or live here, and we just decided like live here. It's cheaper. I got a beautiful apartment. Like I have a fucking office in my apartment. So I live here because if I lived in New York, which is where I'm from, I would live in a closet. That would be the size of my office
Yeah.
for the same price. So fuck that. That's why here. In terms of business, my business is not affected by being in Europe at all because I have to pay taxes to the U.S. My network, I have cool guys here. I kind of like some of the network in the US a little bit more, but friends are friends, homies are homies. Six-figure, seven-figure guys are going to attract each other no matter where you go. So I have a crew of guys here that I'm with, and I'm sure I would have a similar crew if I was in the US. So it doesn't matter. I don't care location, man, as long as I have fast Wi-Fi. And there's chicks if I want to meet chicks, and I can go out and hang out, and there's cool entrepreneurs and people around. I'm good to go. That's all I need, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how long have you been with your girlfriend? Like more than 2 years? More?
It's been for a while. We've been together for some time, quite a while. Yeah.
Okay,
Like several years, more than 2 years.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the player days are kind of over, or you still?
Yeah, I still do my thing, brother.
All
I
right.
have all the boundaries and all that set up in the right place. But she's amazing though.
Nice.
She's awesome, and she grounds me, and I'm really happy that I have someone I can count on that I want to build with and stuff. She's great.
Awesome. So lastly, I mean, how do you help your guys? Like, what's the structure of your program? Let's say I want to join, someone wants to join. What's the structure of the program? And then obviously, how can people find you and work with you?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, if you joined, it would be a little bit different because I would just do consulting with you and put in better structures to your business. It would be a lot more personal. But generally, if you're someone who's running a business, you got sales calls coming through, or you're a closer and you're taking on whatever 3 to 5 sales calls a day, and you want to make money, you work with me one-on-one personally, and we train all through the week under a lot of pressure where I put you in different scenarios, closing situations. You learn my protocols, was what I call them, protocols for how to handle objections, how to lead, how to create a lot of respect from your prospects on a call, where people say yes to next steps and kicking off the program, investing in the offer without where it doesn't feel like it's pulling teeth and it feels like it's easy. And you can do that at a 30-40% rate. If you're a business owner, it should be even higher than that because you can close even higher as a business owner. But that's the goal. So I work with my guys one-on-one all through the week. We have a bunch of different sessions we do. They look at my calls. I review a lot of my calls too in the program, and I have them role play with me and do mock calls, and I throw twists and turns and a lot of difficult situations we go through so that when you're on calls, it feels like nothing to you. And that's the experiences my guys are having. And they're all making money. Not all, transparent. Not all my guys are making money immediately, but a lot of my guys are making a lot of money now. So we're doing well. We've been running this program for coming up on 3 months. We're going into the 3rd month now. And that's it. We're doing well, and I'm happy to be coaching.
Amazing. And is it something where you pay one time and you have access lifetime to the calls and the community, etc., or is it a recurring thing you have to pay?
Monthly subscription. You cancel as anytime you want. Just pay, or you can pay in bulk for 3 months at a time and cancel whenever you want.
Awesome.
And yes,
so yeah, guys,
if high ticket, so it's a 4-figure investment.
Yeah. That's where the most valuable stuff is. Usually, when something is lower ticket, it's not as quality. So anyways, guys, if you want to level up your sales skills, you want to close more, you want to make more money, check out Tim. Work with him. I'm actually honestly considering working with you at some point. I love your style and how you teach and what you're doing. I'm actually going up to Budapest in September, so we'll
Nice.
talk about this. But so how can people find you? And do you have a website? Do you have a social
Yeah,
media?
best place to find me is YouTube, just youtube.com, or just go to look up Tim Ray on YouTube. That's my name, Tim Ray. Or on Instagram, oxy.tim, oxy, O-X-Y Tim. And then all my links are there. I have a school community called Quantum Level, which is where I have all my stuff for free. You can literally just get all my frameworks, all the things I talked about with Limo here. I literally teach them in a free course on school. It's ridiculous how much value is in the course. It's like bigger than a lot of paid courses, actually. It's free. That's it. That's what I do, and that's my stuff, man. So come say hi, guys. I'd be more than happy to talk to you and see if I can help you out. And if I can't, just look at the free stuff and enjoy it.
Yeah, check it out, guys. I'll drop the links to his social media, his school. I'm actually in your school. I need to check out actually the content.
Nice.
I have a school
We're
myself
training this
too.
Thursday.
Yeah, nice. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
I'll be in Dublin actually. I'll be on boot camp, but
Oh,
it's
nice,
gonna be hard.
nice.
Yeah. I have
Good
a
stuff.
boot camp in Dublin this week.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, cool to connect with you. I know you have a call right now, but we'll keep in
Appreciate you
touch.
having me here, man.
Thanks for
Really appreciate you
coming.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And yeah, I mean, we keep in touch.